Starr and D'Amico Show brought to you by cheapesttshirts.ca. Men's, women's, children's t-shirts in all sizes. Hoodies too. Aprons, anything for merchandise, cheapesttshirts.ca. Buy today, ship tomorrow. McLean's Pub, 1210 Peel Street, your home away from home for all Montreal Canadiens games and your home for D'Amico and Starr live once a month. Check out their website. Check them out in person, 1210 Peel Street in downtown Montreal. LittleBearOnline.com. Chuck and Evie and they're an amazing staff care about your pet as much as you do. Curbside pickup, local delivery. On St. Catherine across from Westmount Square, LittleBearOnline.com. And by Catherine Prince Realty. Remax Platine certified broker, the best in the business. South Shore, moving to Brossard, moving to Montreal to be closer to the Montreal Canadiens. Check out our website, Catherine with a K, CatherinePrince.ca. Just want a home evaluation? None better than Catherine Prince. It's a brand new week on the Starr and D'Amico Show. There's Marco D'Amico with RG Media. Good to be with you. I am Shaun Starr. You can listen to me daily on TSN 690. You can listen to D'Amico and I every day on YouTube.com or wherever your audio podcast platforms can be found as the Montreal Canadiens continue to make noise and one individual continues to make a ton of noise. Welcome to number 93. Welcome to Ivan Demidov. And Marco, let's spend some time talking about the NHL Calder race. It doesn't happen very often where you see one organization run it back with Rookie of the Year in back-to-back seasons. The Toronto Maple Leafs are the only organization in the history of the National Hockey League to have a player within their organization win it 3 years in a row. The Boston Bruins have done it, and now maybe the Montreal Canadiens are on tap. And we talk about Ivan Demidov's progression as a player. I can't say I'm surprised, man. We've been talking about this guy ever since you broke the story. The superstar potential is now a reality. The likeliness, though, of Demidov leapfrogging Matthew Schaefer for Rookie of the Year, where do you put that in late October?
Oh, man, that's so tough. That's so tough. I mean, look, the first week, Matthew Schaefer's first week was Norris level.
Yeah.
That's how good it was, right? Like, not only did he put up the points, but he was playing 22 minutes, was the best defenseman on his team, pushing the pace, had exceptional advanced statistics. I mean, I think he had a 70% chance share on the ice. Like, that's insane.
My gosh. Yeah.
And again, and I always say this, and I think this is the one advantage that Ivan Demidov is going to have compared to Schaefer is simply just, I am still concerned to a degree that Matthew Schaefer's lack of play over the last 2 years is going to make him hit a wall at one point. And that doesn't mean I think he's going to regress to the point where he's just like no good. Absolutely not.
Right.
But we're already starting to see that it's 2 games now he goes pointless, right? Even though he's played great, it's just I always thought that the output of points was not going to be sustainable. He may put up 50 points this year, ladies and gentlemen. He may even go to 60. I just don't think he's going to stay at a point per game the whole time. And that really kind of opens a debate because if we were having a player that was going to challenge at 18 years old at a point per game, that would have made it a little bit difficult for Demidov. I think now, things are a little bit more balanced out. And I'd like to get into it because a couple of things needed to happen for Demidov to be in the race.
Yeah.
And a couple of things needed to happen for Schaefer to come back down to earth a little bit. But really, I think it's those two. I will say one thing, and I've held off from saying this, and a lot of fans have kind of pointed this out. I'm not ready to put his hat in the race because I have to see how many games he's going to play. But if Jakob Dobes continues to play like this, he's going to be part of the conversation too.
If we look at the odds today for Calder for Rookie of the Year, Matthew Schaefer plus 180 is your favorite today. Ivan Demidov comes in next at plus 250. Zev Buyam at plus 800. Jimmy Snuggerud of the St. Louis Blues plus 1,800. I mean, Ivan Demidov, and your point's well made about Matthew Schaefer, who as of this recording is 7 points in 8 games, playing over 23 minutes on average through 8 games. Just to put that in context, Ryan Pulock, the other defenseman with the New York Islanders, is averaging less than 20 minutes. To give you an indication of how lopsided it is and how much Patrick Roy is trusting this kid. But if we look at Lane Hutson's season last year, we look at Matthew Schaefer, I mean, heavy minutes. I'll be curious to see if, to your earlier point, if the numbers don't keep up, like more or less a point a game here through 8 games, what his defensive prowess would mean to the voters.
Well, it'll be a little bit like Hudson, right? Like, I think it was a little, how do you say, exaggerated in terms of his defensive deficiencies last year.
Yeah.
Maybe at the start of the season it was difficult, yes, but Hudson didn't go first overall, right? Like, there's a reason why Schaefer went first overall. His game was very polished for an 18-year-old. And his skating allows him to recoup and reposition and do, I think we can all agree this is going to be an elite Norris caliber defenseman in his prime. I think
it looks like it.
See this, right? Yeah, I think we can all see that, right? And my only fear again is just like I am cautious of the fact that I feel that Patrick Roy is going to run him into the ground because he has nothing. No, but not in a sense of malice.
No, I know your point.
He does this. He does this with certain players where he just plays them until they have no gas left. And it's classic Islanders hockey, right? Like, you play your ass off basically now, and then they reach January, and then it's lockdown hockey, right? We all remember this, right? They basically start playing trap hockey. Or look at last year. It was basically the same thing. Their leading scorer was, I believe, Bo Horvat with like 56 points. Yeah. They lock it down. So that's what I'm thinking about, because it's already been like a topsy-turvy start to the season for the Islanders. I'm just not sure how the team's direction will help Schaefer. In a vacuum, I think Schaefer through 2 weeks is the leader for the Calder.
Yeah.
But as we're about to unpack now, things are happening with Ivan Demidov that I think are going to open the door for him to become, or for this to be a two-man or two-horse tight race all the way to the end.
Well, if I bring it back to last year, right, I'll bring Dustin Wolf into the conversation, the goaltender of the Calgary Flames, right, who was right there, heavy mix. And there were a lot of national opinions, right? There were a lot of national opinions that if he was able to help backstop Calgary in the Western Conference to a playoff berth, in the mind of a lot of voters, that was going to be good enough to get Wolf over the line and to take home the Calder. Well, as we know, that didn't happen. Lane Hudson is your rookie of the year, right? So let's talk about that. Like, and I mentioned this on the show last week. Like, if the Montreal Canadiens can be 1-3 in the Atlantic Division and Ivan Demidov's role continues to grow, in my opinion, that puts him over the top. What do you think if Matthew Schaefer continues to play 22, 23 minutes on average, which is where he's at after 8 games this season?
Yeah.
And the Islanders, who are hovering around a playoff spot as of this recording, they have the second wild card in the Eastern Conference today. Again, 8 games, right? But like, if we move forward and they pull a Canadiens last year and they get over the line, I'm curious to see how the voters will see Schaefer's impact versus Demidov's Canadiens finish top 3 in the Atlantic, but Schaefer helps push the Islanders over. I think it's going to be a massive discussion.
Yeah, I think the playoff implications are very much I think that mostly applies to goalies, really. I don't think it necessarily apply to forwards and defensemen. Like,
even as a kid for Schaefer, like, he's so young, he's 18 years old.
No, I think though the playoff argument really kind of applies to like the heart. If you're a forward or a defenseman, like, because if you're the most valuable player in the league and your team doesn't make the playoffs, well, what value did you bring?
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's kind of that, and so I'm of the ilk that I don't think the playoff berth would change much. It really is the on ice play. It really is the impact that you're going to see, because ultimately you look at who was in the race last year with Lane Hudson, right? Dustin Wolf was nominated and didn't win. Yeah. Who else was nominated? Macklin
Celebrini. Michkov faded away down the stretch.
Well, so this is the conversation I wanted to have, right? You look at last year, this time.
Yeah.
The favorite was Matvei Michkov.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Matvei Michkov, right out of the gate, a point per game. And Logan Stankoven in Dallas, right out of the gate, a point per game. And then what happened?
Yeah, that wall you talked about in the first minute of the show today.
Yeah, and Flyers fans are going to tell you that wall for Michkov was John Tortorella. Yeah, I'm sure the ghost of John Tortorella is impacting Michkov.
Now it's Rick Tocchet this year, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When it came to Stankoven, it was a reality, is that he hit a wall and they played him lower in the lineup and then eventually got traded to Carolina. And then you started seeing other guys kind of rise up and start in the conversation. Dustin Wolf was having what I would argue a borderline heart performance for the Calgary Flames, right? If they would have made the playoffs, he would have been on my heart ballot. Never mind the Calder. I mean, it would have been a Steve Mason scenario with the Columbus Blue Jackets those years ago, right?
Yeah.
So that would have been in the conversation. I don't think it's the same thing unless you look at Dobes right now, who is 5-0 for the second time in his career, the first rookie in the history of the NHL to go 5-0 in back-to-back seasons.
But also,
nuts. So
it is nuts, and like plus 3,000. In terms of his very long odds. I mean, can we?
Goalies are always long odds.
If we talk about Jakob Dobes, I mean, he's the Canadiens' number one goaltender right now. I don't think there's a debate about it until Sam Montembeault fixes what needs to be fixed, right? And this is, of course, obviously ahead of the fourth and final road game in Seattle. The Canadiens and then are off until Saturday, and I could see a world that exists if I continue with the hypothetical of the Canadiens are a top 3 Atlantic Division team, like in where they are overall in the Eastern Conference standings, and Jakob Dobes plays the bulk of the games. I could totally see a world where Jakob Dobes is a Calder finalist. Between, if we look at Matthew Schaefer, if we look at Demidov, if we look at Jakob Dobes, I don't know who else you think can maybe leapfrog and get onto a podium, but can Jakob Dobes be a finalist based on his projection after 10 games?
He would have to continue playing the same amount of games and being undefeated. No, I'm just joking. But I think with Dobes, it's a little like, is he playing like a player that should be in consideration for the Calder? Yes. The problem is utilization. And I've always said this. This is like the number one thing. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not playing games or if you're not getting minutes, right? Like you're not gonna get there.
Totally, no. You got to be in the mix.
So for me, for Dobes to be in the mix for a Calder, he's got to play at least 40 games.
Mm-hmm.
Are you really going to play at least 40 games with Samuel Montembeault? If Dobes plays more than 40 games this season, it's because Samuel Montembeault has completely fallen off.
Right.
And there's good news, and then there's bad news. The good news is, well, Jakob Dobes looks like a 1B goalie right now. The bad news is, well, so does Montembeault.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a good outcome.
I think you might be being kind there, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's my job to not necessarily drop the hammer too hard, or else they're going to come find me and I'm going to be the one stuck on a mattress.
And yeah. You could pull off the pose. I could see it.
I probably could. My wife would probably get it framed and make fun of me for forever and ever and ever, but that's besides the point.
It's worth it. Totally worth it.
It's worth it. So, when it comes to players that can come out and potentially challenge these people, Demidov or Schaefer. I mean, Zeev Buium has been really good for the Minnesota Wild. Like, Minnesota just signed Kirill Kaprizov to a monster deal. Lane Hudson just signed 8 times 8.85. Jackson Lacombe 8 times 9.
Yeah.
Luke Hughes 7 times 9. And then you just have Zeev Buium coming in, basically close to a point per game right off the bat, playing on the power play with the Minnesota Wild. His contract is eligible to be extended this summer. Bill Guerin just finished signing Kirill Kaprizov, and now you're going to have to deal with Zeev Buium. This is going to be really, really interesting for them in terms of how that's going to work, because he's been excellent. And it's almost a mirror situation to what happened in the NCAA. Mm-hmm. In the NCAA, Lane Hudson came in and just took over, was the best overall defenseman in the NCAA in his rookie year in 2022-2023. The following season, in comes Zeev Buium with the University of Denver, looks insane as a true freshman, played a year earlier than everybody else and had almost the same amount of points as Lane Hudson.
Yeah.
And here we are seeing them both in the show, and Zeev Buium is not disappointing. A guy that slid in the 2024 draft for no reason. So many should have gotten much earlier than that, and just looks like he is going to be their power play quarterback, potential number one defenseman for years to come. So this guy looks great in terms of offensive. The only thing that's going to make or break it for him is if he could shore up the defensive side of the game. And then you look at two forwards, Beckett Seneca, man. Beckett Seneca continues to play 16 to 18 minutes a game for the Anaheim Ducks, who are surging up, pushing for the playoffs under Coach Q. The veterans coming together. You're getting minutes. We talked about it. You're getting minutes. You're getting ice time. You're being played to the maximum of your capacity. You're going to get opportunities. And that brings me to Emmett Finney, playing on the first line with Detroit, with Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond. I talk about opportunity, and I'm not saying he's coasting on that line or that he's slowly benefiting from playing from it. He's actively part of it in terms of his positioning, how strong he is on the puck, just the nose for the net, strong two-way play, and just a hard player to play against. He complements it well. So those are all the guys that we're talking about. But I still think that if what we've just seen over the last 2 to 3 games happens with regularity, Ivan Demidov, and it's an Ivan Demidov, Matthew Schaefer race. And I really want to dive into Demidov's situation now. I think this is worth the conversation.
Well, that's, it was leading me down that path about, because the competitiveness of, where the Islanders are going to be, how good the Canadiens have been after a 10-game sample size, right? Like if you prorate it, you basically need 12 points in 10-game batches to get you over 96 points and to get you into a playoff race. And the Canadiens have 14 points after their first 10 games to start a brand new season. And if you move forward with that, based on what Matthew Schaefer has done, points, ice time, Islanders in the standings, and then applied to Demidov down the list. And it's funny too, right? Because I was talking to some people on the golf course of various ages over the weekend. And no matter, again, how old you are, the uniqueness of how this Canadiens team is being built has everybody excited. And it's funny, I was looking at the odds on DraftKings and stuff. Not that they're a sponsor or anything. I'm just, that's giving you the source of where it's at. Oliver Kapanen's on that list. We talked about Jakob Dobes is on that list. Hell, Jacob Fowler is on that list at plus 10,000, right? But to wrap this up,
he played well last night, or he played well on Saturday night.
Exactly, yeah. And
but in the AHL,
score a couple of goals there and backstopping Laval to a 4-2 win on a Saturday. But the progression of, it's no surprise. Demidov is Hudson 2.0 in terms of how Martin St. Louis is handling him. Everybody got their wish. He's on power play number 1. And my goodness gracious, how great does that power play look? And so to dive into Demidov, and to me, if I had to put a nickel on it today, it would be on Demidov to win Calder, because I just see it. It's a steady climb uphill.
Well, so we talked about this, right? Schaefer has been given every opportunity right off the bat, right? First power play wave, top 5-on-5 minutes. For a defenseman, ample opportunity to be able to produce offensively. But at the same time, that comes with a lot of defensive responsibilities. So I'm still, as of right now, on Schaefer. But from what I've seen in the last game 2, 3, I see a way for Demidov to run this Calder. I see it
clear. Path.
As of right now, I think it's still Schaefer. But if he falters or if Demidov gets another gear, then we're having a conversation, a serious conversation. I still think Demidov is right there with him. Leads all rookies at this moment in scoring. The first power play wave, man, a thing of beauty, an absolute thing of beauty. Just silliness. And we saw it. I was talking about doing a diamond formation on that first power play wave. Remember, Shaun, we were talking about this?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
They did and they proceeded to do a hybrid diamond formation. So the diamond was actually the diamond was sideways. The diamond flipped the other way. It was fantastic. And so you had like Cole Caulfield at the point at one point. Demidov was at the left circle instead of the right circle. Nick Suzuki was at the point. Lane Hudson was down low. Like, the movement was incredible. But that is where Ivan Demidov is going to be able to paint Picassos.
Yeah.
Because if there are passing lanes being opened up, he will find you. And you look at the game against Vancouver. Yes, he had a goal, a really nice goal, even if it was slightly deflected.
There's the shot everyone wanted to see.
Yeah, and after he had just missed a glorious chance on the power play right before then. So
did he all right off the heel? Yeah.
Yeah, I still think Demidov could have had 4 or 5 points last night. If he is used, and I state this, if he is used in this kind of a situation where he's getting those puck touches, he's getting control, he's getting his groove in, you're getting an engaged Demidov. What happens when you get an engaged Demidov? Well, I'll let our good friends at HFTV come up with a song for that, but something about domination.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just not. Yesterday he was a cheat code in the third period. Saturday he was a cheat code in the third period. I keep mixing up my days. And to me, if he can continue to get top power play usage, top 6 minutes, and he continues to produce on his line, because I found that the chemistry between him and Oliver Kapanen is really starting to jive. I really do like that combo. Ultimately, I think it would be beneficial for him to, at 5-on-5, find himself with Zachary Balzuc. Once that happens, then I think it's all systems go. You run with it. And then we see if throughout this season, the Canadiens make the acquisition of a more offensive center. At that point, that could take it to the moon.
No doubt. It's the race to watch in a season filled with exciting storylines, and the Demidov for Calder race with the Islanders. 18-year-old defensive sensation Matthew Schaefer is right near the top of that list. Right now, though, it's where the Montreal Canadiens are point-wise in the overall NHL standings, where they are in the division, putting big distance between them, or trying to. I mean, the Red Wings had a crazy comeback on Saturday night, but trying to put some distance there, trying to put some distance in the early blushes of an NHL season. You keep it locked to this channel all season long with instant reactions and, of course, developing storylines as we go deeper and we explore the trade market to see how Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon can even better this team as we go deeper into an NHL season. Follow Marco D'Amico at Emin D'Amico. Read all the latest at RG Media. Don't forget, we'll be back this week. We've got live shows on Wednesday morning following the Canadiens' fourth and final game of this current 4-game road trip. We'll be here on Wednesday morning. And then, of course, we'll dive into some Mike Matheson stuff and then get ready for more. We've got some surprises up our sleeves this week, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to like and subscribe. And we'll see you with some Mike Matheson talk and what that contract's going to look like. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss that one.